The next time you're on a date, stare right in her eyes and ask, what would you do if I asked you to go take your underwear off and hand them to me?
Why do you keep clicking on these videos? Why do I keep making these videos? I don't know to either of those things, but what I do know is there's certain people in the world who have this like shimmer to their eyes. You can see it when you look at them. They are just not right. And a prime example of this is this fella I found. I don't even know how I found him, but his name is Kurt Steed, and he gives Instagram dating advice. And the only way to describe it is horrors beyond human comprehension. And it's really bad. Let's take a look at another one of his videos.
Next time you're in the kitchen and she says, do you still want steak for dinner? Just shake your head no, grab her on the waist, set her on the table, and say, I want beaver.
Okay, so a couple things to break down here. First off, why are we saying no to steak? Steak is one of the most delicious things ever. If a lady's making me steak, best believe I'm going to sit patiently, with a fork and knife in my hand and be ready to eat it. Secondly, why is he filming this video in the middle of nowhere? Did he just go to the middle of the mountains, set a tripod up and be like, get ready to eat beaver? Because I don't know, maybe this is the one place where he doesn't feel judged. Like, if he's in the center of nature, he can creepily stare into the camera and talk about, some sort of innuendo about eating a woman's what. I don't know. There's a lot of questions here, but this guy has a freakish amount of videos where he stares into the camera and says the worst thing imaginable. And it gets worse.
Next time you're in the same room, just look up her and say, yes. And she'll say, what? And say, yes. She'll respond again, maybe a little more irritated, but do it one more time. Yes. And she'll finally say something like, what are you talking about? Just say, oh, sorry. That must be your lower lips speaking to me so loud that I'm responding to you.
Okay, first off, this would actually be good advice if the advice was for how to make a woman's vagina spontaneously disappear. If you want to do that, say this. But first off, what is the point of just saying yes, yes, yes? Like, there's a way you could have made this joke or charming phrase, if you can call it that, without being a weirdo and just saying yes, yes, yes. I cannot imagine this dude with a girl in a room going, yes, yes, yes. Like, first off, you look like a psychopath for doing just that. But then when you say that second thing, you go from psychopath to put him in the bottom of the jail. I know this goes without saying, but I'm just going to say it again. Do not do this. And we're going to look at some more in a second. But first, I want to thank today's sponsor, me. I'm the sponsor because I've been going to the gym a lot recently. It's going okay, getting some muscle. But there are a lot of days where I just don't feel like going to the gym because I'm tired from other stuff. And when you have those days, the greatest thing you can do is ingest some fantastic pre-workout. So I am going to recommend to you all, and not just because I'm monetarily benefiting from it, Edge of Insanity pre-workout. I have been taking this for months. I am their brand ambassador, and it is so good. And guess what? You can get it for 20% off. All you got to do is use code PEANUT at checkout. Click the link below. Okay, back to video.
When you're at the restaurant next time, and nobody's around that can hear, just lean over next to her and say, these two fingers need another workout. But this one's also getting weak. So let's work all three of them out tonight. What do you think?
All right. You know how they neuter dogs? Like, they'll chop a dog's balls off if he's too horny and he's going around doing rambunctious stuff. This is what needs to happen to this dude. He's like in his 50s talking about two in the pink, one in the stink. And, medieval torture devices, they used to cut people's fingers off for pain. I think it would be doing the world a favor if we did it with this guy. Listen, this type of stuff, sensual advice, how to turn your lady on, I'm not against that in principle. However, when you're standing in the middle of the woods with a cowboy hat on, creepily staring into the camera, and, you're in your 50s, It just doesn't work. It's not a combination that evokes anything besides fear. Fear. I'm afraid.
When you stand up from the dinner table and she stands up across the table from you, look at her and smile and just say, I'm going to catch you. And you just wait and see what's going to happen when I do.
I mean, this is incredible. They just keep coming. Does he go out to the park like during the day and just spend hours coming up with these one-liners? Secondly, I think he has a very promising career in him as acting as the clown from It, where it's like, hiya, Georgie, I'm going to catch you. And when I do, like, that's exactly how this sounds. He's talking like it's supposed to be flirting, but he's talking as though he's some sort of serial killer that's chasing women. And he's like, oh, I'm going to catch you. Oh, I'm going to catch you. And then, you know, the cowboy hat is really just the final piece of making this horrifying. I don't even know what to say. How does this become your life? It's not like he's a famous guy making a lot of money off this. He's barely making any money. He only has 7,000 followers. He's doing it purely for the love of the game.
Grab her by the waist, set her on the kitchen table, look her straight in the eye and say, it's not Tuesday, but I'm having a taco.
This is the type of shit that, like, you say in your head and you think it sounds cool, and then when you say it out loud, you realize it sounds horrific. But the difference is, this guy, which, by the way, his nipples are poking through his shirt. It's really much less sexy and intimidating when you have your nipples and your man boobs poking out of your shirt when you say this. But how did you, like, film yourself saying this and say, yeah, that goes hard, let me post it to the internet? It would have been one thing if you thought it sounded cool, said it, and then was like, all right, maybe that wasn't great. But no, he fully committed to it. But if you thought that Mr. Kurt Steed was only capable of making flirty, sexual, creepy comments, you'd be wrong. He also has much crazier dating advice.
Next time it rains, build some paper boats and take them out to the gutter together and have boat races in the gutter. And the winner gets to splash the loser.
All right, what? we went from, it's not Tuesday, but I need some tacos. It's not a dam, but I need a beaver, to go out in the rain and make paper boats and play with them. I don't know how we did this complete 180. Maybe, you know, Mr. Kurt, he ran out of, you know, sexual fuel in his body, and he was like, you know what? Maybe I just want to play with paper boats with a lady. Listen, I'll take that. I mean, it's still weird because he was saying it in the same tone that he says his creepy stuff in. You know, he's like, I'll play paper boats with you. Still weird, but, you know, based off of all the previous things we heard, I'll take that. And you know what the funniest part is about this page is all of those creepy videos I showed you were sandwiched in between a different style of content. Do you want to guess what it was? Guess down below what you think the other content he makes is. 3, 2, 1. It's movie reviews!
Looking for another fairy tale? Jack the Giant Slayer. It's a great family movie. It is PG-13, so it's a little bit intense, but it's a good movie.
This dude's talking about, oh, it's a family movie after making the most X-rated comments you will ever hear. Like, you can't just be like, oh, I want to slice you open and eat you for dessert, and then be like, yeah, I like Finding Nemo. It was a good movie. Like, you can't combine the two. Make 2 separate pages. One for creeping everybody out and one for movie reviews. You can't just do them back to back. It's weird. And this is an interesting situation because normally when I react and talk about people like this, it's usually like big pages who are making a bunch of money doing what they're doing. But this guy only has 7,000 followers, and sometimes he barely cracks 100 views on his videos. So this is purely what he wants to be doing in life. I can't believe, like, you would think he's just doing it for views. That's usually what happens in a lot of cases. He doesn't have an OnlyFans. He doesn't have, you know, a product he's trying to sell. He's purely being like this because that's who he is. And in a certain way, I think that's kind of beautiful. I don't hate this guy. I just think he needs to change his tone just a little bit because, you know, nobody wants to hear what you're saying in the way that you're saying it. Does that make sense? So yeah, I thought I'd share this guy with the world because certain people are just so strange that it's too good not to share. But let me know your thoughts. Maybe his dating advice helped you. Who knows? But with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you all for watching. Peace.
Orange Peanut wants you to subscribe because he needs more money.